At this point in time, I'd like to call this meeting of the Middlesex County Board of Chosen Freeholders to order. Please rise for a moment of silence. Dennis, salute to the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Margaret?
Notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett Blante.
Here.
Freeholder Delina. Freeholder Polos.
Here.
Freeholder Rios.
Here.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Here.
Freeholder Valenti.
Here.
Freeholder Director Rufano.
Here. Commemorative resolutions.
First is recognizing Thomas Seilheimer of the Township of North Brunswick on the occasion of his retirement as Director of the Office of Human Services. And next is recognizing the following individuals as they have been selected by Carteret Mayor Daniel Ryman for their contributions to the community. Baldev Singh Butter will receive the Corporate Leadership Award. The Carteret Office of Emergency Management will receive the Volunteer Appreciation Award. Vincent Bellino will receive the Civic Leadership Award. And Gary H. Richard of PC Richard & Son will receive the Corporate Philanthropy Award.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, second by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett Blante.
Yes.
Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Rios.
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rufano.
Yes. Now I call upon Freeholder Valente to make a presentation.
This is a very difficult time for me. We're going to say goodbye to a great friend, an outstanding executive director of human services for the county of Middlesex. And I get emotional because I've worked with him for the 9 years I've been a freeholder. So to Melissa Lewis, who's going to replace him, you better have very big shoes because he has very big shoes to fill. Anyway, Tom, would you like to come up? Whereas it has come to the attention of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Middlesex that Tom M. Seilheimer of the Township of North Brunswick has announced his retirement as Director of the Middlesex County Office of Human Services effective June 30th, 2012. And whereas prior to his employment with Middlesex County, Tom Seilheimer served the residents of the Township of North Brunswick as Director of Recreation, Superintendent of Parks and Recreation, Director of Human Services, and then as Director of Human Services and Public Works. What haven't you done? Oh, okay. Whereas Tom Seilheimer began his career with Middlesex County on February 22nd, year 2000, and will be remembered for his dedication and commitment to improving the services offered to all residents and his desire to expand our programs to meet the ever-changing needs of the residents of the County of Middlesex. Whereas during his tenure with Middlesex County, the responsibilities and oversight of the Middlesex County Office of Human Services have evolved greatly and now encompass behavioral and children's services, social work, housing, and addiction services, to name but a few. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Chosen Freeholders in the County of Middlesex that we do hereby commend and thank Thomas Seilheimer for his many years of dedicated service to the residents of Middlesex County, and we congratulate him on the occasion of his retirement. We also extend our best wishes to Tom and his lovely wife, who's here tonight, Mary Ann, as they relocate to Delaware to be closer to family, and wish them many years of good health and happiness. Tom, we will miss you.
Thank you, Freeholder, and thank you for being such a champion for the people that we work so hard for. You have been a really guiding light for social services, and I think the Freeholder Director has referred to you as the heart of the Board of Freeholders on many occasions, and that's certainly well deserved. I was reading the newspaper recently, and I saw a letter to the editor that said that the Freeholders had set a time limit on speaking, so I thought I would bring along an aide here so I don't run over. Because I do have a few remarks that I'd like to share with you. This is really only 3 minutes, Margaret, so you may want to watch your own. I really want to thank Freeholder Valenti again for her stellar support and advocacy. She's been a remarkable freeholder to work with, and I've appreciated every minute with her. And I want to thank the Board of Chosen Freeholders for your support of the commitment that we have at the Office of Human Services. You've allowed us to do so many different things. I know that having served as the Vice President of our Professional Association of Human Services Directors, there's many counties around the state that are very envious of what we've been able to accomplish here. And I can tell you that none of what we've been able to accomplish would have been possible without your support. You know, my first week on the job, I heard one of our staff, who was kind of behind a wall and didn't see me, saying, "Well, he's no Bill." Well, that was a reference to the former Human Services Director in Middlesex County, Bill Waldman, who is a bit of a legend and a rock star in social services. And I know many of you are smiling because you worked with Bill. He was not only the Director of Human Services in Middlesex County for many years, but he moved on to be the Commissioner of Human Services for the state of New Jersey under 3 different governors. So I never aspired to be Bill, but I can say that I'm proud of a number of accomplishments that we've been able to do during this 12 years with the county. We opened and eventually expanded the children's waiting room at the family court. We were only one of 6 counties in the state to be funded for a differential response initiative, and all of us who worked on that are very proud of that. The design and implementation of a 10-year plan to end homelessness is one of our more important endeavors, and the creation of Coming Home, a 501c3, to facilitate the implementation of that plan. The creation of the Homeless Trust Fund. Once again, we need to thank the freeholders for that. The first in the state to distribute funds to support initiatives to end homelessness. And the Housing First Capital Fund, which I believe is the only county program like that in the state of New Jersey. And the progress we've made in addressing alternatives to juvenile detention through the JDAI program. And finally, one of the things that's going to stay with me most in my heart as I leave here is the Traveling Vietnam Memorial that we did in 2004 in Roosevelt Park with the support of Ralph Albanere and his staff. And once again, none of these achievements would have been possible without the support of the freeholders and the collaboration of the myriad Middlesex County nonprofit agencies that work so closely with us, the people that are committed to bettering the lives of our residents in need, and the leadership and staff of other county departments, particularly county council, purchasing, and comptrollers, who we seem to always be on the phone with them trying to get something done. And no affront to you, Dennis, because I know I'm retiring. I need that personnel coverage and all that paperwork, but those 3 departments have been remarkable in their support. And you'll notice I use the phrase "we" throughout these comments, and that's because we have probably the best, most eclectic staff in the county. And many of them are here tonight, surprising me. I didn't know they were going to be here. They are dedicated. They never waver. Sometimes they cringe when I come in with new ideas and new initiatives. But they're a remarkable staff, and they have so many different skills individually. And I want to say that they were part of the reason that we had such a smooth transition during the county reorganization. They bought into that. They were every step of the way with us. So thank you, all of you who are here and those of you who are not here. I really appreciate your support. I'm almost done.
Take your time.
Get a little more time. I also want to highlight the volunteer community members that we work with. We have 10 different boards and committees that we work with in the Office of Human Services, and they're all staffed by people that are volunteers, lay people, professional people, consumers, and advocates, and they all provide very professional and important input for us as we put together programs and direction for the county social services. I know if John Palomino were here tonight, I'd tease him about shaving his head, and I think he does that because I've given him so many gray hairs over the years as the county administrator. A lot of these initiatives are a real challenge for the administration, but we've, once again, really appreciated their support. I want to thank a few people. Peg Chester, who is our department head, and I want to thank Peg for recognizing the value of the work that we do in the Office of Human Services and for giving us a really solid opportunity to help shape the change during the reorganization. It was very important to everybody on the staff. And I have to thank the late Freeholder Director Dave Craybiel and former Freeholder Jane Brady for having the confidence in me to do this job 12 years ago when they brought me on board. 41 years ago, I boarded a Greyhound bus for Freeholder. See what you did to me? In Syracuse, New York. And I was headed for basic training in Fort Dix. And who knew that 5 years later, my wife Marianne and I would be back here spending 36 years pursuing really challenging careers and raising a family in Middlesex County. So as we stand here tonight, she should be up here with me. Ready to embark on the next phase of our life in Delaware, I'm reminded of a line used by a NFL Hall of Fame football coach, Marv Levy, who used to ask his players as they prepared to enter the field of play, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Thank you. It's been a privilege to live and work in Middlesex County, the greatest county in the land.
Thank you.
Maybe Marianne will send him back.
Correspondence?
Each freeholder has been provided with a list of correspondence received by the clerk's office since our last meeting. This correspondence will be kept on file in the office of the clerk of the board for reference.
I need a motion to accept the correspondence.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Now it's time for reports of freeholders. Freeholder Carol Barrett Belante.
Thank you, Director. Last week, the New Jersey Local Finance Board approved the Middlesex County Improvement Authority's 2012 lease program and loan programs. These programs allow the county and municipalities to finance vital equipment such as vehicles, computers, and communications equipment at reduced cost in order to continuously improve the quality of life for county residents. These programs are financed by fixed rate bonds issued by the Improvement Authority on behalf of the Middlesex County and other participating municipalities within the county. They are guaranteed by the county, and due to the county's AAA bond rating, participants receive a lower cost of borrowing. As a result, considerable savings. Savings are also realized because it is a pooled purchase. The more items you buy, the lower the cost per item. Last night, I had the great honor, along with Freeholder Valente, to be at the graduation class of the East Brunswick Votex High School. We had the honor, Blanquita and myself, to hand out some diplomas. It's probably one of the best nights that I ever have when I go to the Votech on graduation. It was a heartfelt evening, but we are very proud, the freeholders, of the educational opportunities available to our residents through our vocational and technical schools. Our schools have been an incredible resource for thousands upon thousands of students over the years. The class of 2012 undoubtedly benefited from this long-held tradition, as well as many educational advancements embraced by our schools. I wish to thank and recognize the graduates of our vocational and technical schools and congratulate them for having worked so hard to accomplish so much. I am sure that last night's ceremony was the beginning of what promises to be a very bright and successful future for them. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder H. James Paulus.
Thank you very much, Director.
You're welcome.
I start my report tonight on a sad note. Many of you may have read that there was the passing of a young firefighter in South Amboy a few days ago. Firefighter Paul Shuntz was a graduate of the Middlesex County Fire Academy. He was an active member of the South Amboy and Sayreville fire departments, and had a very unfortunate accident. He was out boating with a friend. They lost the motor. They went back the next day to retrieve it. He entered Cheesequake Bay area in Sayreville in the creek, and unfortunately never surfaced again. So I share that with you tonight in sorrow, because he was a young, vibrant, active member of those fire departments, a volunteer, no less, gave of his time, of his personal time to serve his communities, and we've sent our condolences and so forth to the family, and we hope that you keep him in your prayers and his family in your prayers. This past week, we had a wonderful celebration in East Brunswick, kicking off a new program on distracted driving enforcement with East Brunswick Township and Old Bridge. It is our summer event, which will be beginning, actually has begun already, actively begun. We're involving East Brunswick Police Department, the Old Bridge Police Department, in coordination with our county forces to unleash an educational program for drivers who drive distracted. As I'm sure you may realize by now, that the distracted driving concern is one of the most severe issues that we're facing on our roads today. And we can't blame just the teenagers and the young folks for doing it. It's all of us who are distracted while we're driving. It could be anything from using a cell phone, trying to text, eating, drinking in the car. And the rise in accidents, injuries, and damage, personal damage, has just gone up exponentially in the last couple of years. There's been an explosion of new injury results and deaths that have occurred as a result of it. So this new enforcement initiative is rather unique insofar as, instead of just getting a fine and a summons, drivers will be given a warning notice. And as a result of receiving that, they'll be given an option to go on a specially designed website that we created in the county. They're going to have to watch a very powerful video about the consequences of driving distracted. They sign off on that, and as a result of that, their fine is waived. We're hoping that the education and the impact of that powerful message is enough to remind them not to do it again. So we want to thank East Brunswick and Old Bridge, and I want to personally thank Joe Krizza, our Director of Public Safety, who really took this entire project on. It was an idea that we had spoken about, and as I always say, we can come up with the great ideas. It's the staff that implements it. But he really took the bull by the horns on this and made it work. I want to thank the mayors of East Brunswick and Old Bridge and their police chiefs for their enthusiastic support for this. In fact, we had our press conference, I believe it was last Wednesday, and we met with the chief thereafter, and we said, how successful is it? And he laughingly told us a story that he had just issued a summons an hour before the press conference because there was a woman literally talking on the phone and looking at him as she was driving down the road. He said, and I had no choice but to actually take the little book out and write my own. So we hope that the impact will be significant and long-lasting as we try to educate our drivers, and there'll then be an educational component in our public schools and parochial schools starting in September, building off of the success of that as well. Our fire marshal has been very busy this month, and I'd like to take just a moment. A lot of times some of our departments or divisions are not as visible as others, but I think it's important for the residents to understand that every division of our county, whether it is visible or isn't, has a very, very important role and part in helping our county work properly. The fire marshal has been involved in at least 7 incidents just this past month, the month of June, on major structure fires in East Brunswick, in Woodbridge, in Plainsboro, Highland Park, and Edison, providing assistance to provide water for low water pressure on 2 occasions in Woodbridge alone. The fire marshal ends up at these events as a result of the fire departments requiring more assistance and mutual aid. Equipment needs to be moved around the county to ensure that no part of the county is left unprotected. It is a concert, if you will, of equipment. Having been to many of these scenes myself, there are boards and charts and computer screens identifying what equipment can be moved from what community to ensure that that community is not left again unprotected. So it really takes a lot of coordination, and that's the vital role that the fire marshal's office plays in these incidents. So we want to just tell him that he's doing, and always has done, a great job and continues to do a wonderful job. We spoke about Tom Solheimer's retirement, and we also have another gentleman who's going to be leaving our employ in a few days. But before I speak about him, with your permission, Director, I'd just like to also make a comment about Tom. And we go back a long time in our municipal involvements. When I was a local mayor and councilman, we worked on many mutual partnerships between North Brunswick and Highland Park. You're always a stellar professional in what you did at the local level, which is why I was so pleased that the county made a decision to bring you here to the county 12 years ago. You've done wonderful things. You have a great legacy of accomplishment here, and I just want to tell you on a personal level how much I've enjoyed working with you. I think that you are not only a professional but a true gentleman. You understand what it means to run human services because you have the human integrity, human knowledge, and human interest to make it work. So thank you so much for everything that you have done for the county. The other gentleman that I want to mention tonight is leaving our employ. He's been with us 8 short years. This gentleman, I want to thank Freeholder Valenti, my colleague, for allowing me to say a few words tonight about Steve Fattanti. In fact, Steve's department now falls under my Freeholder colleague, but for 8 years, the first 8 years of his employment here, he worked under my area as Freeholder. So, Blanquita, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to say a few words on Steve's behalf. Steve is going to be moving on to a new position with New Jersey Transit as of the first of the month. But it's important that we recognize what was accomplished during these 8 short years. When Steve came on board, there was a commitment by the board at that point. As I became chairperson of transportation, Freeholder director was in support of it, the members of the board were, that we were going to create for the first time in Middlesex County a Department of Transportation. Prior to that, we had our paratransit transportation fixed within Human Services, and they did a wonderful job, but in all honesty, it was not the primary focus of trying to create a seamless network of transportation. Well, in December of 2004, we forged some new ground and made a Freeholder commitment to bring a top quality professional on board and hope that our department would evolve into a true Department of Transportation. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if it would work. We didn't know what it would cost. And some of the results or some of the reports that we got had some huge numbers in order to make it a success. Well, what this board and this director has done in the last 8 years is take a division of a department, turn it into a true department, not expend the millions of dollars that the consultant said we had to do, and create what has now been recognized, not only at the state level, ladies and gentlemen, and this is important for you to hear, but at the federal level, as one of the best transportation systems in the entire country. In 8 short years, through the direction of Steve Fattanti, and I tell you, he is a tireless worker, this Department of Transportation and Paratransit Transportation was recognized by the New Jersey Cost Group, which is the statewide umbrella organization for paratransit transportation throughout New Jersey. It was recognized by the Community Transportation Association of America, the national organization that oversees paratransit operations in the country. And then just a couple of short years ago, we're actually invited to Washington to be recognized by the U.S. Department of Transportation as one of the best paratransit operations in the entire United States. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you don't get that kind of recognition, you don't get that type of notoriety and visibility unless you're doing things right. And in addition to being able to accomplish all of those deeds, he turned the department into a true professional department. We made some great changes, working on everything from new logos and new colors to new shuttles. We now are providing opportunities for people in our county to be able to get to shopping, to work, to education, to religious events, without having to worry about how they're going to get home. We gave our senior citizens and disabled, for the first time ever, independence through shuttles that go on an hourly, regular basis, so that people don't have to sit there and wait and hope the bus shows up. They know that at 8:50 or 9:02 or at 10:15, that bus is going to be at that bus stop and pick them up. That independence, that type of independence, is so important to the residents of our county, particularly to our seniors and disabled. So, Steve, on behalf of the Board of Freeholders, I want to thank you for 8 wonderful years. You helped us develop and create a wonderful department. We hope we're as successful in the next 8 years to build upon it, to make it even greater and better. In your new capacity at New Jersey Transit, I assure you, and I'm sure I speak for Freeholder Valenti, we'll be knocking on your door for funds to help us do that. Because without the money, we don't have any success. But I just have to tell you, I've never seen anybody work as hard as you did. And I say respectfully, you drove me crazy for the first 8 years. He would call me at 6 in the morning, 11 o'clock at night. I'd get emails in the middle of the day. It was just constant. But I never tempered the energy, because I really respected what you tried to do for us and what you did accomplish. So thank you for that. And a round of applause for Steve Fatani. Stand up, Steve, please. Now it's my pleasure to introduce some of the young folks who are here today, who have been so patient. Before I begin, I want to thank Dave Sliker and Olga Jimenez from our Solid Waste Management Environmental Health Division for helping coordinate today's events. What we're going to be celebrating today, ladies and gentlemen, is providing some awards to some wonderful students in grades 6 to 8 who responded to a question that we posed to them for the essay contest. The question was, how can you be an environmental steward in your home, community, or school? 160 essays were received, and today we have a very short list of winners who excelled in what they produced and provided to the county. There was a great committee that was put together. I'm glad I wasn't one of the judges. I'm sure it was difficult to do, but we had a great panel of judges select the top winners for today. And for those of you who wrote this essay, I should share with you one quick item. Middlesex County, because of the support of this board, has really been an environmental steward, and in fact, 2 years ago, the County of Middlesex received the Environmental Stewardship Award from the Department of Environmental Protection at the state because of our work to create a green Middlesex County and our work in sustainability and our new sustainability plan. We were recognized as environmental stewards. So your essays certainly dovetail very nicely with what the concept has been for the county and what our goals are, I should say, that Middlesex County has established to make Middlesex County a greener place to live. So, without further ado, let me introduce our winners today. And I believe that we also have with us Tina Ezzo, who's a science teacher from Crossroads. Tina, are you here? So wave. Thank you so much for coming out and for all of your help. First of all, a young lady who I know very well from Highland Park, a very bright young lady, and I'm glad that she was one of our victors tonight. First prize from 8th grade, Victoria De Laurentiis from Highland Park Middle School. Victoria, come on up. Now, as one who's from Highland Park, that's the reason why Victoria and I know each other very well, and her family. Congratulations. Very nice job. Congratulations. And do we have just one of each or so?
Yes. One of those, there's a note in there.
Oh, okay. Congratulations. From Crossroads South Middle School in South Brunswick, Kirsten Schwartz. Kirsten?
It's an older model.
Congratulations. 7th grade, first prize, Brandon Sims from Crossroads South Middle School. Sixth grade, first place, Michael Schechter from Rabbi Pesach Ramon Yeshiva in Edison. Oh, Michal, I'm so sorry, dear. I apologize. Now, I should have practiced that before, and I'm sorry. Congratulations, Michal.
Thank you.
As a former mayor of Highland Park, I'm a Bissell Yiddish by association, and I should have known that. So my apologies. Second place, Ali Resch from RPRY, Reich. I'm taking my time on the third one. Third place, Michaela Elk from RPRY. I want to thank again all the students for participating. Your essays were wonderful. We got an opportunity to read them after the winners were selected, so thank you for your participation. And how about another round of applause for all the students and their parents and families? And that's it, Director. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Freeholder.
Good job.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Okay. Director?
Sure.
Oh, all right.
Thanks.
Down the street, they are the fire department. Go around.
City Hall's parking lot, so.
No, you always park there. How do you get behind? Do you get from the back? Is there a way to get in from the back? Because the fire trucks are so
Well, we have one more winner with us today. Second prize winner, 7th grade from South Plainfield Middle School, Helen Wynn. Congratulations. Yes. It did? Congratulations, Helen. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Freeholder. Deputy Director Ron Rios.
Thank you, Director. On June 9th, we had our 4th annual Pancreatic Cancer Walk that was held in Roosevelt Park. And this year we had 250 walkers, which was a record number of walkers. We raised, each year we averaged, each year for the last 3 years, we averaged a little over $2,000 each year, which came to a total of over $8,000 for the 3 years combined. This year we were able to raise over $21,000. It was a great effort by many people. I'd like to thank all the volunteers, all the workers, all the people that donated money. I'd like to thank the Cancer Institute. And all that money went to the Cancer Institute of New Jersey for pancreatic cancer research. I'd also like to thank Dr. Edmund Ladamy from the Cancer Institute, who was in attendance. I'd like to thank my Freeholder colleagues for their participation and their attendance in the race, or walk, Sheriff Millie Scott. And I'd also like to thank Congressman Frank Pallone, who was in attendance, and he shared his story about how he lost his mother to this disease. And also I'd like to thank Mayor Risigliano from Edison, who was in attendance and who shared her story about losing her son-in-law at an early age to pancreatic cancer research. And it's just something that we have to bring more awareness to. It gets such little funding. Out of all the National Cancer Institute's funding that they have, only 2% goes to research for this disease. So it's important that we continue these walks and raise awareness for this disease, and hopefully one day we'll find a cure for it. I'd also like to thank the Middlesex County Academy for Allied Health and Biomedical Sciences for their help, the County Cancer Coalition, and also the Parks and Recreation and the Health Department for their support and hard work. On a different note, on our community notification system, I sent out letters to all the mayors, council members, police chiefs, OEM directors, and notifying them about this new shared services system that we're implementing, and we're trying to encourage them to get on board with this notification. It's not just for emergencies, it's for all kinds of community notifications, whether it be road closures for parades or for water flushings that may be going on. So we're encouraging all our towns to participate in this. We already have meetings set up because there has been interest from approximately 6 towns, and we're going to be explaining that system to them and the benefits of it. And that concludes my report, Director. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Director. Freeholder Charlie Tamaro.
Yes, sir. I had the opportunity and the honor to attend the graduating class of the Middlesex County Mathematics and Science School last night, where 34 of our brightest students in the county just graduated, going to some of the best institutions that our country has to offer. But I'd like to recognize one young lady last night. Out of 20,000 applicants, this school only accepts 300 people, and it's a Coast Guard Academy, and she was one of them. And last night she was honored by the Coast Guard and just about sworn in to be going to school. And so quite an accomplishment for one of our Middlesex County students. The Cultural Heritage Commission, the first silent film screening series, The Artist, will be Saturday, June 30th at 7 p.m. at Voorhees Hall, room 105 at the College Avenue campus of Rutgers University, New Brunswick. Registration is free, so call 732-745-4489 at our East Jersey Old Town Village on Wednesday, July 4th at 2 p.m. Celebrate our nation's independence with the portrayal of Abraham Lincoln by Bob Gleason of the American Historical Theater. Register for free for the program. Call 732-745-4489. At our extension services, the Earth Center June events, the Master Garden Butterfly House is open Saturdays and Sundays through August. We have an invasive species workshop coming up on Wednesday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. Until 8. And you recognize the species that crowd our natives. Walk and talk with Melissa of the New Jersey Invasive Species Strike Team. You register for free. There's a registration fee of $20. Our garden tours are Friday, July 29th from 10 a.m. till noon. You tour the vegetable and herb and rain gardens, tree walk, and more. And for more, call for details and reservations. I also want to thank Chris Rafano for attending the opening on June 9th at the Edison Tower Museum. It was quite a success. We had several hundred people there, and our first real opening day, which was a week ago today, we had over 100 people come and visit our museum. They're waiting at the door to get in. So thank the Freeholder Board for being so supportive of this museum. And I also want to wish Tom well on his retirement. I know our social services are the best, and it's because of you and your staff that make it that way. And being involved in the food pantry and recommending our clients to come and to take part of the services or get the services, your staff has done a tremendous job, and so are you. But I know the real reason why you're moving to Delaware, the property taxes. Congratulations and good luck to you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Blanquita Valente.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Again, I want to wish Tom and Mary Ann a very happy and healthy retirement. You deserve it. And as I said, Mary Ann, if he gets to be too much, send him back. I know he won't come back, but anyway, you certainly deserve your happy retirement. I want to add to Freeholder Paula's report on the Division of Addiction, and we are participating in a distracted driving initiative to help prevent devastating accidents caused while driving and texting or using a handheld cell phone. Kickoff was held on June 12th for the demonstration project, as Freeholder Paulus commented, conducted with East Brunswick and Old Bridge Police Departments. The collaborative partners include the Department of Public Safety, Health, County Alliance, KMM, and the Office of Human Services Intoxicated Drivers Resource Center. Our Intoxicated Driver Resource Center staff also work with the Middlesex County Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MAD, as we often hear them mention. The New Jersey chapters will conduct an important event at Middlesex County College, or did already, on June 14th to recognize 250 nominated law enforcement members for removing dangerous drunk drivers from our roads. Each received a certificate of recognition from MAD, and the keynote speakers were Hester Herring Agudosi, Deputy Attorney General of New Jersey, Carolyn Lawler, Assistant Prosecutor in Union County, and our own Middlesex County Freeholder H. James Paulus, who shared the county's award-winning high school PCAs about drinking and distracted driving. I was one of the judges at that with that contest, and it was incredible the wonderful work our young people did, and the presentations were unique. So I congratulate you, Freeholder Paulus, for that part of your division. Now, from the Division of Housing and Social Work Services, I just want to simply state that on June the 10th at 2 p.m., members of the Middlesex County Veterans Advisory Council assisted in conducting a massing of colors at the New Jersey Veterans Home in Menlo Park in celebration of Flag Day. It was a beautiful event. And Steve Fittant, we're losing you, but not. You should be able to give us a hand when you're working at New Jersey Transit, and we're looking forward to hearing from you and hoping that you send a few things our way. So again, thank you for your service, and we have certainly been lucky to have had you these years. And that's the end of my report, Freeholder Director.
Thank you, Freeholder. A couple quick comments. The Middlesex County Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Convention and Visitors Bureau have published a Go Central Jersey Visitors Guide. The booklet discusses and lists all the great things to see and do in the area. Middlesex County is featured prominently. Our parks, historical and cultural sites, our many great theaters, restaurants, and events are all here for visitors to take in. Copies of the booklet are here on the dais. I actually have one right here. They're also available through the Chamber of Commerce by calling 732-745-8090, or visit the Go Central Jersey website at www.gocentraljersey.com. You can also obtain copies through the county's Office of Economic and Business Development by calling 732-745-3434. And lastly, to Tom, I certainly want to thank you for all that you did for us and for the citizens of Middlesex County. I certainly wish you well. Enjoy your retirement. And Steve, thank you, and good luck. Okay. Mr. Kelso?
Yes, Freeholder Director, we have a series of resolutions to be added to the agenda, 5 of which arise from the closed session from Monday evening. The first is approval for William Blubick and Richard Weidman of the Middlesex County Office of Extension Services to attend the NACAA conference to be held in Charleston, South Carolina, July 15th through 20th, 2012, and that will be Resolution 12-1236. The next resolution is to authorize execution of a memorandum of agreement with the Middlesex County Weights and Measures, PBA Local 203, regarding the 2009 through 2012 labor contract and execution of conforming labor contract. That will become Resolution 12-1237. The next is to authorize submission and execution of a grant application to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs under the Recreational Opportunities for Individuals with Disabilities Act for the period from July 1st, 2012 to June 30th, 2013, in the amount of $35,000 as required by the Cultural and Heritage Commission, county cash match of $7,000. That will become Resolution 12-1238. The next resolution is to authorize execution of an internship agreement with Rutgers University Edward J. Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy for student intern Kelly Sanchez to be assigned to Middlesex County Department of Community Services Office of Human Services for the summer of 2012, consisting of 20 hours per week, 300 total hours at no cost to the county. And that will be Resolution 12-1239. Next is to authorize amendments to the salary schedule for the 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012 Middlesex County Weights and Measures, PBA Local 2003. This is complementary to the previous resolution with regard to the labor agreement, and that will become Resolution 12-1240. Next is to authorize an execution of memorandum of agreement with the Middlesex County Park Rangers Association regarding the 2009 through 2012 labor contract and execution of conforming labor contract, and that will become Resolution 12-1241. The next is a companion resolution to that memorandum, and that is to authorize amendments to the salary schedules for the 2009 through 2012 Middlesex County Park Rangers Association, and that will become Resolution 12-1242. And finally, the authorized execution of the memorandum of agreement with Monmouth County to provide for the regionalization of medical examiner services by merging the Middlesex and Monmouth Medical Examiners offices into the Middlesex Medical Examiner's Office, and that will become Resolution 12-1243.
Need a motion to add these resolutions to the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett Belante.
Yes.
Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Rios.
Yes.
Freeholder Tamara.
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes. Mr. Kelso, any resolutions to be amended?
There are none.
Resolutions to be held?
There are none.
Resolutions to be voided?
There are none.
Okay, at this point in time, I'd like to open to the public comment or discussion on any resolutions listed on the agenda. And remember, there's a 5-minute rule. When you get to the microphone.
Mr. Selheimer, you're going to give me your timer?
Name and address?
My name is Roger Daley. I'm a Republican freeholder candidate for Freeholder. My address is 103 Farms Road Circle, and I want to use a little bit of my time, although I realize it's valuable, to comment on Tom Selheimer, because I worked with Tom for 12 years, and actually everything that was said is actually true about Tom. So that's a nice thing. He only has one weakness. He's a Buffalo Bills fan, and so, but we'll forgive him for that. Anyway, Godspeed, Tom. I would like to call the freeholders' attention to Resolution 1130, 1131, 1136, 1144. Those resolutions are proposal to accept engineering services, and it's for T&M and Remington Varick. T&M services are over $1 million, and Remington Varick is over $250,000. There was a recent article in the Star Ledger regarding the political action committees, and these two firms were actually the major contributors. T&M contributed $454,000, and Remington Varick contributed $437,000. And our freeholders, actually, last year, Freeholder Tamaro and Barrett received $125,000, $120,000 respectively. What I would suggest to the board is this. These PACs are clearly designed to to circumvent the pay-to-play laws. And first, I would ask the Freeholder Board to adopt the policy, and I would ask my opponents to not take any money from these PACs this year.
Mr. Daley, if I could just interrupt you for a second.
Sure.
These are resolutions that we have to discuss that are on the agenda. There'll be time to talk about those other issues.
I'm discussing the resolutions, Freeholder Director, because I'm asking you not to adopt them, and I'm trying to give you reasons why not to adopt them. I'm just not going to say don't adopt them, remove them from the thing with not giving you a reason why. I'm trying to tell you why.
All right, continue.
So anyway, I would ask that the freeholders adopt a policy not to accept funds from these political action committees, which are clearly an end run around the pay-to-play laws. And I would ask this board to not go forward on these resolutions, because T&M and Remington are clearly the major contributors to these funds in Middlesex County. And I've heard a lot of very positive things tonight about how the wonderful things that are happening in Middlesex. It would be a wonderful thing if we would stop adding to the taxpayers' money, making these companies contribute money, because the money that they contribute gets added onto the tax bill, and that's been going on for a long time. I'm not saying this is a partisan thing. I'm just saying it should stop, and this Freeholder Board should put a stop to it. And they could do that tonight by withdrawing these resolutions and developing a competitive policy other than contributing money for services. I realize it's not a bidding service. It's a professional service, so it's not a bidding process. But the Freeholder Board could do something very important tonight and actually change the culture that exists surrounding these granting of professional contracts. T&M has contributed significant sums to these funds, to these PACs, political action committees, and this Freeholder Board should take a strong stance against that. So I would ask that they would remove these from the agenda, not vote on them, and develop. You have very talented staff that could develop a competitive policy so people who aren't contributing could participate in the process. And again, on the how much time do I have left, Freeholder?
About 25 seconds.
25 seconds. Well, I really didn't prepare too much more because it's very difficult to get in. But I would also ask Mr. Rios to please consider my request to give people more time to speak. Thank you, Freeholder Director.
Time.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Does any freeholder have any items they wish removed from the consent agenda and voted on separately?
Yes, I do, Director.
Okay.
12-1143.
Anybody else?
Yes, I do. 12-1108.
Anybody else? I have two. That's 12-1151 and 12-1239. Okay, Mr. Kelso?
Yes, Freeholder Director, motion would then be in order to adopt the consent agenda consisting of resolution numbers 12-1098 through 12-1243, excluding resolutions 12-1108, 12-1143, 12-1151, and 12-1239 to be voted upon separately.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett Belante.
Yes.
Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Rios.
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Valente.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes.
And now it would be appropriate to consider the resolution excluded by Freeholder Barrett Belante, and that's Resolution 12-1143.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett Belante.
Present, not voting.
Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Rios?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano?
Yes.
And now it would be appropriate to consider the resolution excluded by Freeholder Tamaro, and that's Resolution 12-1108.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Baird Valente?
Yes.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Rios?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Present, not voting?
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano?
Yes.
And finally, it would be appropriate to consider the resolution excluded by Freeholder Director Rafano, and that's Resolutions 12-1151 and 12-1239.
Need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Baird Valente?
Yes.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Rios?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano?
Present, not voting. At this point in time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public on any item. Anyone from the public comment on any item? Yes, sir. 5, and you have to indicate your name and address. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Charles Cradaville, Patterson Street, New Brunswick. Greetings, Mr. Freeholder, Director of Freeholders, and all the professionals here. I wanted to ask first, is there anyone here who is or has been an employee of the Middlesex County Joint Health Insurance Fund? Okay, good. So hopefully I can get some of these questions answered about New Brunswick's Mayor, James Cahill. I understand he was an employee of the fund for some time. I wanted to know, how long did he work for the Joint Health Insurance Fund? What did he do there? How much was he paid? When did he leave the fund and on what terms? And who's performing that role now?
The appropriate thing for you to do, Charlie, is to send an Oprah request. Some of the things that you've asked for are available. Others may not be, because you're asking for records. Certainly those records are available from the Joint Health Insurance Fund. I will
Okay.
tell you just generally.
Is there anything that can be answered tonight?
He was counsel to the Joint Health Insurance Fund for a few years. I just don't recall how many. And
Okay.
he is no longer.
And when did that change happen?
I don't recall. Within the last 2 years, perhaps.
Okay, and who is performing that role now?
I don't recall, honestly.
I don't know at this point, to be honest with you.
We'll get the information for it. I just don't recall.
Okay. I guess, given the lack of information there, I'll just ask about the New Brunswick Bikeway project. What is the update on that?
What was that question again? I'm sorry.
The New Brunswick Bikeway project, going in through downtown New Brunswick, a bicycle lane, our first bicycle lane in the city.
George.
George.
Oh, yes.
Summary on that, the plans have now been submitted to the state for bidding purposes. And once that is completed, the authorization completion's got to be by August 31st. So we're moving ahead on that very positive. We had some issues with the utility companies, we had to overcome that. We had to resolve some differences between the state and the feds. That was resolved. We're moving forward. Bidding documents have been submitted to the state for being reviewed. And once they're approved,
And is there a approximate time construction would begin through the chair? Is there an approximate time construction would begin?
next year.
August of this year.
After the authorization is given to proceed, which will begin shortly after August.
Okay, well that's good news. I'm very encouraged by it. I think that it's long overdue that the city gets a bike lane, so I'm glad you're moving forward with it. And it just came to me also. I do believe there have been some major changes with the Joint Health Insurance Fund, as far as like a new entity sort of taking it over. When I went to the website today, called the number, and it was someone picked up from North American Insurance Management. Is that has they taken over for it, or what does that mean?
The administrator, third-party
It's
administrator?
a change in the third-party administrator. It's not taken over. The Joint Health Insurance Fund is a county fund.
Right. So there's always been
But there's always a
administrator.
professional administrator, yes.
It's just a new administrator.
Right.
Okay. And if I may ask, Mr. Kuchinksis, are you still with the fund?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your role? Through the chair. Treasurer of the fund. Are there any other employees on the payroll of this entity?
Mr. Kachinkis is a county employee. The fund is a fund that's sponsored by the county. He is the treasurer of the Joint Health Insurance Fund as a result of his role as the county controller.
Okay, so
I
that's
just don't want you to characterize it inaccurately.
okay. Sure. Well, are there any? I mean, Mayor Cahill was on the payroll. Is there anyone else who is on the payroll anymore?
Mayor Cahill acted as counsel to the fund, as independent counsel.
Okay.
And in answer to the other question, it is Patrick Dignan who is the current counsel to the Joint Health Insurance Fund.
Okay. The assemblyman.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else in the public?
Field Director, Roger Daley, 103 Farmswood Circle, East Brunswick, New Jersey. I feel a little bit like the Grinch that stole Christmas, because I've heard a lot of about what a wonderful human services situation we have, and there is a lot of truth to that. But I happen to know a little bit about the area of juvenile delinquency, and this particular area, the Freeholder Board has done terribly. And I hope to spend my 5 minutes, and each 5 minutes that I get, to try to bring that to the attention of the public. I have a question about the merger of the detention centers, because we spent the last 10 years reducing the population of the detention centers, because it's a lot better to have small numbers of children in our detention centers. And this board merged it with Monmouth and Mercer County, and dramatically raised the level of children in the detention center. I asked last week, how much money do we get a year from Monmouth to house their children?
I don't know that off the top of my head. I think the administrator gave you an answer last meeting, what that number was. I don't know off the top of my head. Al, do you have?
So we don't know how much for Mercer either, right?
Oh,
Right.
we have two different distinct
Right.
contracts, one
Right.
with Monmouth, one with
Right.
Mercer.
I believe it's 2 or 2.1 million, sir.
Per year
Correct.
from Monmouth,
From Monmouth.
and from Mercer.
I don't know the Mercer amount.
And were the residents and the police department of North Brunswick alerted to the fact that we're going to start bringing up the children's parents who from Asbury Park and Trenton, known members of the Bloods and the 5%ers, and they're going to come visiting their children in North Brunswick? Was that brought to the attention of the North Brunswick people?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, there's a regular meeting of the SORP team, which is basically the municipalities involved that surround the community and the detention center and the county folks. So they're made aware of what is going on at the detention facility, who's in the detention facility, the numbers of people in it, and so forth. So I would say to you that the communities are well aware of our agreements, who's coming, who's going, and who's
on that, Freeholder? Who's on that committee?
Representatives from the municipalities, North Brunswick, the municipalities that surround the community as well, because in the event of an escape or something, we have a response team and members of our county team, corrections department, our public safety director.
How
and so
often
forth.
does that committee meet?
Regularly.
What does that mean?
I would say probably every few months.
When was the last time they met?
I think just this past week. They had it scheduled actually for tomorrow morning, but it's being rescheduled until next Tuesday.
Has there been any indication that there's been an increase in crime? Has the Freeholders followed up on the fact that they changed the detention facility dramatically? Has there been any increase in crime in the area?
Not that we're aware of, no.
I would ask the Freeholder Board to make some inquiry and to see if, in fact, something like that has, in fact, happened.
Well, again, they do meet regularly. I'm sure that if there was any increase in crime that any community felt was as a result of the people who were housing the facility, I'm sure they would have made us aware of that rather quickly. So we've not received anything like that. And the numbers of actual inmates who are coming from Monmouth and from Mercer to the juvenile detention facility are not large numbers at all.
Well, actually, there are 20 children from Mercer County and 10 children from Monmouth County.
Mm-hmm.
The other issue, JDAI was mentioned. This board has been remiss in not using those millions of dollars to move along the JDAI program, which would allow the 30 children that we have in the detention center now from Middlesex, many of those children with bracelets and with a program in place would not be in the detention center. And I've heard that this Freeholder board gets something like $4 million a year from these two entities. They could have used some of that money rather than dragging their feet and not spending the money to help this JDAI program. So I would recommend that the Freeholders take a look at that. Mr. Polis, you're a very talented man. I would like you to take a look at the money that you're getting from those two entities and use some of that for JDAI. And I want to tell you, JDAI is a good program. It shouldn't have taken all this time for the county to implement it.
The funds are already in place for the JDAI.
Last meeting you adopted $50,000 for the bracelets, but you have an entity to.
Time.
And
Thank you, Mr. Daley.
I can't finish telling you what.
Thank you.
Mr. Rios, I'm a veteran.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Anybody else from the public?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Phil Tamara. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Fielder Valente. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.